Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the irrepressible human rights activist and former presidential candidate Omoyels Sowere. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
What has motivated you to take the step of calling on people to take to the streets to draw attention to the need to release Mr. Kanu?
It's a number of things, and one is that we're friends, and we've been friends for a long time. In fact, I was one of the few people through Sahara TV that interviewed Nnamdi Kanu when he was relatively unknown, before he was arrested the first time. And I met him in 2019 in New York, had a conversation about his struggle for his people, and we struck a friendship then. And I was here in Nigeria, myself, held up by the Nigerian government when he was extraordinary rendition from Kenya. In fact, I was one of the few people who ran to court by the time he had been taken to the DSS detention, where he had been deposited before, after he was kidnapped from Kenya. So, but the most important thing is that I understand the nature of justice, fair hearing, his constitutional right. And it is in his own case that you can say that he's presumed guilty and he's trying to prove his innocence, which is very sad. If you look at how long it has taken for all these court processes to take place, you know that Kanu's fate is not in the hands of the judiciary. If a decision was taken today by the owners of Nigeria to let him go, the judge might sit in the middle of the night and let him go. And by the way, on my way here, something happened. President Tinubu just pardoned 82 people. One of them was Herbert Macaulay, Nnamdi Azikwe, of course, Farouk, who collected bribe from Otedola, a cocaine dealer who was in prison for life, and a fraudster. So if you can pardon this array of people and several others, I'm not asking for pardon for him, but it's a time to let Nnamdi Kanu go.
Is there a lot of public support for the release of Nnamdi Kanu, or is that difficult to gauge?
Oh, it's unprecedented. You know, I've been fighting for his release for a long time. I used to attend all his court trials. Under Buhari, I was attacked several times. Each time I went to court, I was attacked physically by the DSS, police, thugs. But this time around, I'm surprised at the number of known traditional people, you know what I mean, who are in support of it. In fact, there was a poll put up by, you know, it's not a scientific poll, by Tunde Ednon's page, who's a major Instagram influencer. And out of 17,000 people, 92% of them support the call for his release and the protest that's been planned for 28th of October.
I understand you've tried to contact many leaders in the Southeast to take more public-facing action in support of Nnamdi Kanu's release. Have you been struck by their apparent lack of personal involvement and commitment to that cause?
I'm not shocked, because I think on your show I once declared that Kanu's predicament, or his ordeal, is as a result of some persons in the Southeast who took a decision that his release would jeopardize their political career and future. That I know as far back as when Tinubu freshly became president, because I was part of some conversation to release him. And they said at that time, Imo elections are coming. If it comes out, APC might not win. And subsequently, I realized that some of the communiques you said is just, you know, word of mouth by day. When they go at night or when they meet Tinubu, it's likely that they have a different position. And when I started contacting them in the last 24 hours, I'm shocked. You know, some of them that I used to be able to reach just switched off their lines. The ones I sent messages never responded. I reached out to Soludo, who I know personally.
That's Charles Soludo,
who's the governor of Anambra State.
Right.
No response till now. I reached out to Alex Oti. Alex Oti used to be a columnist for Sahara Reporters, so I know him personally. No response till now. The only response I got was a nominal response that no, we shouldn't have dragged us the way you did. Reached out to Peter Obi, they said he's in Rome. But I sent a message that, you know, you can behave as the Romans do too, you know, just be part of this. But some have been encouraging. Senator Abaribe, I reached out to him, he responded, he said, I'm in on this. And I know that Abaribe suffered when he was a shorty for Kanu. In fact, I was sleeping on Abaribe's bed at the DSS in 2019, shortly after he was released, because he was shorty for Nnamdi Kanu. So the rep from his state at the House of Rep also signed up. A number of persons have signed up, some of them publicly, but there is no unified response from Southeastern political leaders or traditional rulers, or even the religious priesthood there, which many had expected would happen. But a lot of young people have signed up to this, and you can see that the Nigerian government is already pushing back because they've seen the response to the unequivocal in support of the release of Nnamdi Kanu at this time. I don't think they were expecting that such a response would be so favorable and swift.
So is this what you think is needed to push this Nnamdi Kanu issue over the line and perhaps change President Tinubu's view of Mr. Kanu and not the sort of behind-the-scenes quiet diplomacy that has been going on since?
It's obvious that diplomacy cannot work. If it was going to work, by now it would have resolved the issue. I think they used the diplomacy or their proclamation about diplomacy to just make the public become a little lethargic about his release so that nobody, oh, they're working on it, don't worry. Because we hear that a lot from Oti, who is the Abia State governor, that is working on this quietly. In fact, I was told in court about 2 weeks ago that he will be released on head grounds. They had convinced everybody, only for him to come to court, and they kept changing the goalpost, as we call it. So I don't think diplomacy has to be a combination of, actions. And one of it, I think, is going to be a loud public disapproval of his continued detention, and the protest would work, in my view, in that regard. And that's why I want these people who claim to want him to be released to join the protest. Yes, because when they have issues, they do protest. There's no major politician in this country that has never participated in the protest. When their own private